Hello, my name is Logan and I'm your host, the Mighty Pirate. In today's video, we are going to talk about the Atlas. The Atlas was originally commissioned in 2755 by Alexander Kerensky. For those of you who don't know, Alexander Kerensky was the general of the Star League Defense Force and would later lead the resistance against Stefan Armas and eventually the exodus from the Inner Sphere. So, when Kerensky requested the Atlas's design, it was so they could have a tool over their successor state allies. They needed one thing that was just bigger than all the opposition. And in the original design notes for the Atlas, Kerensky wrote as follows, and I quote, "A mech as powerful as possible, as impenetrable as possible, and as ugly and foreboding as conceivable, so that fear itself will be our ally." Alexander Kerensky. And yes, the Atlas is in fact very ugly, very armored, and has more firepower than most mechs. In some cases, lances combined. With an LRM-20, a AC-20, 4 medium lasers, and an SRM-6. It has enough firepower to be effective at most ranges. The initial tests, or the initial speculations of an Atlas, was that it had enough firepower to take on a full battalion of Stingers. Now, I find this a little hard to believe because a battalion is 36 mechs, and I don't care how bad the pilots are. With 36 mechs, someone's bound to make it into the back armor of the Atlas. So anyway, it wound up being very popular, and when Alexander Kerensky requested all the Atlas pilots to join him in his exodus, only a third of the pilots actually joined. The rest of the pilots wound up joining with a lot of the great houses. So the Atlas has undergone very few and yet a lot of changes. In the early days, Atlases were considered to be perfect the way they were, and it wasn't until the Helm Memory Core was found and brought into mass use that the Atlas would see a lot of retrofits. Obviously, the stuff like I've discussed before, double heat sinks, ferrofibrous armor, Artemis, ECM, any number of upgrades for the Atlas will increase its battlefield role. However, the armaments usually remain the same, or perhaps in some cases a little beefier. For example, one of the sniper variants has 2 LRM-15 racks, 2 ER large lasers, and I believe 2 medium lasers. And it wound up cutting of the original 20 heat sinks down to 15 double heat sinks. And so that's in a case where they took the extra 5 tons and changed it around for more ammunition. So the Atlas also... So you would think the Atlas's head is actually bulbous and the easiest target in the world to hit. However, that's not true. The Atlas's cockpit is located in the right eye of the head, the skull that represents the Atlas's head. And surprisingly, inside that eye cockpit it's really roomy. Like they can set up ground to space communication devices inside the cockpit and still have room to move around. The only drawback of the Atlas is that at its max speed, it's moving 54 kilometers an hour. So even though there are some variants that have XL engines that make it go a little bit faster, those XL engines inherently make it more fragile because if either torso is lost or the center torso is lost, the entire Atlas is no longer going to function. So the Atlas moves slowly, but I believe as long as it stays at medium to long range, it will be very difficult to take out at range. And uh, another design comment I've heard often about the Atlas is, why does it have hands when it could have guns? Well, there's a couple reasons why it has hands. One is because it also serves as a work mech when it's not in combat. It's a big lumbering device, and in battlefield roles, it can move equipment around. Um, as a counterpoint to this, it also can use those same non-combat roles of being able to lift and maneuver things, where it can literally pick up almost a medium mech. This is in the lore, mind you, not really in the Battlefield game, or, well, not in any game representation, but in the stories, there's a couple of cases where the Atlas just like picks up a medium mech and he just throws it across the field. But silly stuff like that. And the Atlas is also, it has hands, so it can punch. Rock'em Rock'em Sock'em Robot style. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This was a lot of fun to do. I'm going to be making more videos soon, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks for watching.